Got a couple of options for extra credit this chapter, both of them involving Coot and both of them requiring you to sing, so it should be a lot of fun. So the first option is to conduct and sing on solfege the treble clef part from beginning to end, and you'll sing it either as it's notated or you can take it a little bit lower if that fits in your voice better. The other option is a real coordination challenge where you're going to be singing the top part on your solfege syllables while simultaneously playing the bottom part with your left hand at the piano keyboard. So two options. Let's take the first one first. So the sing and conduct option. So given the time signature of 3/4, pretty easy. All you need to do is conduct a 3 pattern the entire way. But to sing it, it's going to take a little bit of practice and a little bit of preparation. In terms of preparation, you need to know in advance which solfege syllables you're singing on which notes of the piece. So as you'll recall from the chapter, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do are the solfege syllables for any major scale. All right, well, how do we apply that to this piece? Well, first we've got to figure out which major scale we're dealing with. In other words, which major key is Coot in? Looking at the key signature, we have 3 flats, B flat, E flat, and A flat. Well, E flat is the second to last one, so we are in the key of E flat major. And in fact, both hands end by playing the note E flat, so it makes sense. So that means our E flat major scale is the scale that is in use for the piece. And the notes of the E flat major scale, you can probably figure this out if you recite them one at a time in an ascending fashion. You have E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, and E flat. Now it's those 8 notes of the scale that are going to correspond to our 8 solfege syllables. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So that means anytime you see an E flat, that's going to be do. Anytime you see an F, it's going to be re, G, mi, A flat, fa, and so on. So let's take the first chunk of this piece as an example, and we'll start putting solfege syllables to individual notes. So the first note of the piece is a G. Well, which note of the E flat major scale is G? Well, there's E flat, F, G. So it's the third note of the scale. So do, re, mi. So our solfege syllable is going to be mi, and you can pencil in a little mi there if you like. So if that note is mi, the next note is the A flat, which is the next note of the scale. So it's the 4th note of the scale, do, re, mi, fa. So it's going to get the syllable fa. The next note up is going to be sol. Excuse me, then we get sol again, fa, mi. So that takes care of the first slurred passage. What if we were to start anew with measure 3? We have an F, so which note in the E flat major scale is F? Well, E flat is the first note, F is the second note. So in terms of solfege, do, re. So re goes with F, so re, mi, fa, mi, re. And if you want, you can even write out the syllables for the entire piece. That's totally fine. Now, once you've got the syllables solidified, then, of course, you got to actually sing the right notes. So the syllables will help you. And honestly, this drill is a bit of preparation for those of you wanting to take the ear training classes where you really learn how to sing a piece without ever having seen it before or heard it before. But for right now, you want to put in a decent amount of time practicing getting the notes right, and you can play along with yourself. As you're singing, you can play that right-hand part to make sure that you are on pitch. Now, when you perform this, though, perform it a cappella, meaning you're not going to be playing along with yourself at all. You're just singing and you are conducting. So when you set yourself up for that, what you can do is give yourself the E flat, which is the do note, of course. And if you like, you can also give yourself the G, which is your starting note, your mi at the very beginning. So that can at least get you oriented. So I'll demonstrate this version, and then momentarily we'll go on to the singing and playing option. So here's my E flat, and here's my G, and here I go. 1, 2, 3. Mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, re, mi, re, do, re. Mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. And so that is your singing only version. Let's go on to the singing and playing version. So it helps if you've practiced that much already, because now you've got the singing part down. Now it's a chance to try to coordinate with your left hand. So you'll want to set yourself up at the piano and practice little bit by little bit, trying to get your sung notes out properly while also maintaining that separate part in the left hand. So I'm going to give you just a brief demonstration. Don't worry if your initial practicing sounds a bit like this. This is to be expected. It's going to be a little bit tricky at first. So you might find yourself doing something like this. Mi, fa, sol, mi, si, sol. So totally fine if you get a little bit flustered at the beginning, because there's a lot of stuff happening at the same time. One tendency for students is to automatically start singing along with their left hand part, which you don't want to do, right? You want to be singing the right hand part. You want to be singing those different notes. So once you've practiced it, you're going to have to practice again in little chunks. But once it feels a little bit more comfortable, it should sound something like this. Mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, do, re, mi, re, do, re. Mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. So that's a pretty good challenge. So for those of you up to it, I encourage you to go all in, spend a lot of time practicing it, but it's well worth it, because it's quite enjoyable actually to be able to accompany yourself while you're singing by playing at the piano.